My best friend's girlfriend beat me and sent me to the hospital after she saw our childhood pictures, so I made her face the consequences and got her imprisoned. Miles and I have known each other since we were 2 because our parents are best friends. Now, I would not say Miles is my best friend. He is a good friend, and we do hang out on occasion. However, because of our parents, we see each other on all major holidays. We are in our early 20s. The problem started because of a dumb childhood memory. When we were 8, we had a wedding play at school aftercare. I played the bride, and Miles played the groom. It was a play with horrible songs and uncoordinated kids. Bob's, our parents made pictures and videos of that, and we each have one picture on our family picture walls. Miles is dating Lindy. They met 3 years ago and started dating last year. Lindy does not like me. So every time we concede at a celebration, she comments about me being the typical girl's best friend. She once said that I secretly wanted to sleep with Miles. I have no clue where she got that impression from. Miles and I have different friend groups and schedules. Besides the monthly catch-up over food, we didn't meet that much. Things got worse when Lindy saw the wedding play picture. The comments just got more. She even started DMing me on Instagram saying she knew what game I was playing. I talked to Miles once about this, and he told me to give her time. So his birthday was on Saturday, and I was invited. Lindy wrote to me saying something along the lines of she was going to supervise me. This was their first birthday as a couple, and I could not take up his time. I was fed up. I tried talking to Miles again, but he said the same thing. So I just skipped out. When the party started, I wrote a quick sorry I can't come and told him my mother would bring his present. Now he is upset with me for missing his birthday. Lindy is mad that I made it all about myself, and my parents are upset I missed a family function. Update. After my post, I talked to Miles. At first, he was kind of mad and thought I had been blowing things out of proportion. Some more details are in my last post. We concluded taking more distance while he figured that all out, mainly because I did not want the added stress of petty drama. Then I talked to my parents and explained what was happening. They were really upset by how Lindy treated me. They wouldn't get involved, but getting that off my chest was nice. Then nothing else happened until Tuesday evening. Wednesday was a holiday, so some of my friends took the opportunity to go to an Irish pub to do karaoke. At some point, my best friend and I went to pee and touch up our makeup. Then Lindy and some of her friends walked in and cornered us. It wasn't pretty. They stared loudly, talking about man-stealing bitches and how some women were just born to be homewreckers. And imagine being pathetic enough to pretend to be a guy's friend to fuck him and how pick-me's are the worst. They kept edging us physically into the part where the hand dryers were while pretending we were not there, until my best friend had enough and pushed through them while pulling me behind her. We were almost at our table when Lindy went right behind me and pulled my hair so I could fall backward onto a metallic piece where you were supposed to put your feet. It hurt so bad that I started to see white, and then a girl next to Lindy poured beer on me. There was a scuffle, and someone dropped one of those heavy pint glasses on my head. Police took away the Lindys, and I was taken to the hospital. My parents were furious, as were Miles' parents. They both came to the hospital. I was severely concussed. My nose was fractured, and the worst thing is that I had a hairline fracture in my back. I stayed in the hospital till yesterday morning. Miles did try calling me a bunch. According to my parents, they told him not to visit me right now. I did get an official notice saying that there was now a legal case open against Lindy and one other girl for not only assault, but also public disturbance in the bar. So now I'll have to deal with all that legally. I finally talked to Miles. Long story short, those of you saying Lindy was isolating him was a sign that an abusive relationship was right. He told me everything she said to him to make him feel awful. She would freak out about anything in her life and take that out on him. She would scratch him and bite him when she was mad. Our talk ended with both of us crying and apologizing. We will be closer again. At least we can talk about these things more often. He broke up with her and is hiding at my parents' house. Update 2. An official court date for my process against Lindy has been set. It took 2 months to get in, is another 3 months out, but something is something. Our lawyer said Lindy is probably not going to jail as she is a first-time offender. If she goes to jail, it would be no more than 3 months. She will most likely have to pay a fee of 100 days of her income. I have let my father handle this 100% because I have no head for it. There is a second lawsuit going on at the same time as now I am legally chronically ill. The hairline fracture was not a passing thing, but developed. I am in pain daily. Not every day is bad, but not a day passes where I am not at least a 2 on the pain scale. As a result, I have not been able to work. Insurance pays 75% of my former income, and my workplace covers the rest. But I am probably going to get fired. So my insurance filed a claim against Lindy to pay my lost wages. Right now, I am not in contact with Miles. I try to be supportive, but being disabled by his jealous ex-girlfriend made me bitter against him. He was a victim. But now I can't live my life. And I blame him partly for that. I am in therapy to work through all that and have taken up some new hobbies. I have started to write more and am looking into courses or online classes. Miles' parents have been apologetic and have supported me a lot. His mother had been a saint. She volunteered to drive me everywhere. And I have become friends with her. We even went to see Deadpool and Wolverine. She is a Sahyu. So we have a lot of time. One of Lindy's friends reached out through my lawyer, testifying against her friend. She also sent a letter apologizing. To make it short, Lindy had told them I was bullying her and that Miles had once already cheated on her with me. Update 3. The first court date, it came and went. It was my insurance company versus Lindy. Surprise. She lost. She's on the hook for most of my lost wages, which is nice. I didn't have to be there the whole time, which I was grateful for because I've had enough of this mess. As for the criminal case, we don't even know if we'll end up going to court for that one. My lawyer is handling it, and I've handed the reins over to my dad because I've had it. I'm no legal expert, and Lindy's in a bad spot after that insurance loss. Her legal team is scrambling to do some serious damage control, but at this point, that's not my problem. More of Lindy's friends have crawled out of their hidey holes to give testimony. Turns out this wasn't our first rodeo. Another girl came forward with evidence of Lindy pulling similar stunts back in high school. This poor girl was just sitting next to Lindy's then boyfriend being a normal human, and Lindy went off the rails, starting rumors and spreading literal breadcrumbs on her table to trigger her celiac disease. Yeah, she's that kind of psycho. No one could prove it then, but now with all these friends popping up, it's all coming to light. And believe me, these girls didn't have some moral epiphany. They're just terrified of getting fired or having anything negative pop up in their records. The receipts are coming out, and it's getting uglier by the day. Now let's talk about Miles because that's another dumpster fire. I'm still not speaking to him. Turns out he's known for a while that Lindy was threatening him with bad things if he didn't cut me off and make his parents stop talking to me. And this idiot laughed it off. Thought she meant breaking up with him or something. But no, she was dead serious, and she even started stalking me and one of his cousins. She made some fake profiles and was sending cryptic messages to his cousin. What did Miles do? Talked her down. Yeah, that's it. She kept giving him ultimatums, and he just rolled with it. So, yeah, I'm even angrier at him now. He knew she was unhinged and didn't do anything about it. He let her spiral while I got dragged through the mud. His dad finally got involved and dragged him to the police where they filed reports about all the crap Lindy pulled. They have evidence now from the stuff with his cousin and even photos from when Lindy got physical with him. So at least something's happening on that front, but it's too little. Too late if you ask me. As for Lindy, well, she's gone radio silent, except for TikTok, of course. My friends keep sending me her cringe videos, and it's honestly kind of disturbing. She's acting like nothing's happening, like her life isn't unraveling. She's got a new boyfriend now, and they're making those awful lip-sync videos together. I think she's living at his place, but who knows? Maybe her parents cut her off. Wouldn't be surprised. Oh, and the guy? Yeah, one of my friends looked him up. Let's just say he fits right into her pattern. As my grandma would say, there's a lid for every pot. On the health front, there is still nothing good to report. My pain hasn't improved, and I'm now waiting for a surgery appointment, which looks like it will be in early 2025. The pain radiates to my left hip now, which is great. I feel like that sad little dog from the Black Cauldron. But, hey, silver lining. I've made friends with a few of the nurses who work with me. One of them braids my hair, which is kind of sweet. I'm also seeing a physiotherapist regularly, mostly for massages. It helps, but some days, I feel like I'm just patching myself with duct tape. The therapist suggested I start doing pool exercises. So now I'm in an aqua aerobics class for seniors. No, there isn't a disability-specific class in my town, and frankly, I didn't feel like looking too hard. The old ladies are a riot, though. Well, except for one who always looks miserable, I'm not one to talk. One piece of good news, I finally got approved for a wheelchair. So at least I can go out with my friends without feeling like my body is falling apart after an hour. I've also been taking a few university courses for fun and playing too much Fallout. So there's that, and that's where we are. It's still a mess, but I'm doing everything possible to get through it. Final update. Lindy was imprisoned, and none of it is suspended. She also has to pay restitution for my medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering. The court didn't miss a thing. They went through all the evidence, the testimonies, and even the messages, and it was clear who was at fault. I cannot tell you how much of a relief it is. During the trial, Lindy claimed I had been bullying her and that I planned the pub incident to ambush her in the bathroom where there were no cameras. She said I struck first. Two of her friends backed her up, but the third one, who was also part of the attack, told the truth to avoid harsher punishment. Obviously, their stories didn't line up. And when the outside CCTV footage and witnesses from the pub were brought in, her whole narrative fell apart. The court didn't buy it, especially with all the messages Lindy had sent me before the incident. She could not explain why someone supposedly bullying her would also be the one receiving threats from her. It also came out that Lindy and her new boyfriend had been intimidating witnesses. He even messaged me on Instagram trying to get me to say something incriminating or admit to something I didn't do. At first, I didn't realize who it was, so I replied briefly. But once I figured it out, I stopped immediately. Thankfully, I had already handed over everything to my lawyer, which was documented. Watching her lawyer try to frame her actions as acting out under stress while knowing she was tampering with the case was surreal. There was a moment outside the courtroom where my parents and Lindy's parents talked. It wasn't an argument, but it was uncomfortable. My parents pointed out how everything presented in court clarified what Lindy had done. Lindy's parents didn't argue back, but seemed completely out of their depth. They mentioned being shocked by how much she had escalated things and admitted they hadn't understood how serious it was. They've taken on the financial burden of her restitution, which means I know the money for everything will come through. It's hard to say if they are doing it out of guilt or to protect their image, but it is one less thing for me to worry about. Adjusting to my new normal has been a mixed bag. The chronic pain is still there, and my surgery isn't happening for a few more months. I've also been dealing with the endless back and forth of German bureaucracy. My insurance keeps sending letters asking, "Hey, you still disabled? Lol?" As if chronic pain and an unhealed fracture could magically fix themselves. Whenever I think I'm done explaining my situation, they send me another form to fill out. It's exhausting, but my doctors have been supportive and always help me get the paperwork sorted. Some days are harder than others, and there are moments when I feel sad about how much my life has changed. A few months ago, I was always stuck in that sadness, angry, and constantly thinking about how unfair this was. I think I was grieving the life I thought I would have. Now, though, I have accepted that this is my life, and even if I never fully heal, I know I'll manage. I'm not letting Lindy take up more space in my head than she already has. I've started focusing on things that make me happy again. My friends and I started a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, and they came to my place to play. They're so patient when I need breaks or when the pain gets bad. Through that group, I met someone. At first, I was nervous about getting close to him because I thought he might see my situation as too much to deal with. But he's been amazing. He drives to appointments, brings me groceries once a week, and has never made me feel like a burden. I'm falling in love with him, and I feel hopeful for the first time in a while. I've also been keeping my mind busy with the courses and finally re-watched all of How I Met Your Mother. Sometimes, I see myself comparing my old life to this one, which makes me sad, but I don't stay in that feeling as long as I used to. I've started finding a balance between moving forward and letting myself feel everything that comes with this new chapter. I've distanced myself from Miles' parents. They were wonderful to me, but I realized he needs their support now more than I do, and it should be undivided. I still don't know if I can forgive him. To this day, I haven't.